TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Eldercare Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org. And welcome into TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 9. Honored and privileged to have with us the former mayor of DeKalb, Mr. Jerry Smith. Jerry, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing real well, thank you.
Thank you for taking time to talk to us. And of course, the oak tree of the news broadcast, Dan Lynch, with us again. Dan, how you doing, my friend?
Hello, and summer's flying by.
So like Newman said about the mail, the news never stops, right? It just keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming, but you try to keep on top of it as best you can.
Yeah, it's relentless. So
yeah,
there are news holes. There's always news hole. There are always stories that don't get covered.
Right. So that's why we're here to fill in some of those news holes. And Jerry, you were mentioning off the air before you came on the air with us that we are lacking local news, and we're glad to be able to at least fill some of those little holes.
The city of DeKalb is in a real news hole. The city of DeKalb is in a situation now with no local news other than what you guys do once or twice a week. The news hole is here because of the newspaper business, and I understand that's a national problem that newspapers have.
Right.
But our newspaper has a limited staff, and they're only able to cover so much. And when they do cover something, it's 2-3 days after the event that we read about it. So yeah, Dan's point about DeKalb being in news hole is very, very real.
All right, well let's fill some of that hole right now. Dan, what do you got for local news, my friend?
Last night, 2 people hurt in a 2-vehicle wreck. Or actually, it was this morning. DeKalb County Sheriff's Office reports at 5:45 this morning, a Honda City.
And this is Thursday, July 31st. We're recording this, so make that clear.
Yep. Heading east on Melms Road near New Lebanon Road, a Honda driven by a 58-year-old female from Hampshire. She drifted into the oncoming lane and struck a westbound Toyota driven by a 47-year-old Genoa female. Both women were taken to Sherman Hospital in Elgin. The extent of their injuries were not disclosed. The driver who drifted into the oncoming lane, she was cited for improper lane usage.
Okay. Boy, and we hear a lot of those. Well, Jerry, you hear those almost every day. We hear a story, either whether it be on 38 or 64, Plank Road or Peace Road.
I'm not in the news business anymore, but I'll ask you guys something regarding that story and in the newspaper. When I was in the news business at WLBK, if we had a 47-year-old driver, and if that driver was charged, I'd use that person's name. But if you hear something now or read something, it's about a 47-year-old Genoa man, a 34-year-old some person, a woman, a man, whatever, and we never hear or we are never able to read the name of that individual. Why is that, Dan?
I have the name here. Well, actually, the guy who taught me news from CBS, Mervyn Block, he said, if it's not a local, this gal's from Hampshire.
Okay.
Is that a local?
Well, what would you say?
But I would. But if that were a local person, would you use that person's name?
Mervyn Block says yes.
I would. But
so she's 58-year-old Karen Rogers of Hampshire. I omitted her name because I didn't know if anyone would know who.
Oh, I see. Okay.
She's from, what is that, McHenry County?
Right.
But when I listen to the news or read the newspaper, I like to know who this DeKalb person is or this Sycamore woman is. And if you read in the Chronicle, most of the time, you never see the name of someone.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is, and again, maybe it's something journalistically that...
well, it's all alleged, right, Dan? But you say that according to police reports alleged...
yeah, Karen Rogers, cited for improper lane.
Or cited. So
now, I know a lot of news guys. I know dozens, guys and gals. In this situation, they never say the name.
Yeah.
Real? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, glad
It's
you brought that
a
up,
lot
Jerry.
of CYA for radio stations in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be that as it may.
All right, that's great. Glad you asked that, Jerry. We're visiting with Jerry Smith, former mayor of DeKalb. It's a news podcast, local news here for DeKalb County. Unfortunately, we have to report this one: the body of a 10-year-old girl found in DeKalb Pond after hours-long water rescue efforts. And again, not to get specific with this, but I didn't realize until I read an article in the Chronicle that the unintentional drowning is the number one cause of accidental deaths for children ages 1 through 4, and number 2 for children of all ages in Illinois. And in Illinois last year, there were 101 people drowned, including 14 children under the age of 18. That according to the Illinois Department of Public Health data. And they have some individual stories about people drowning. But, again, swim lessons are an important thing. But I remember learning something when I was in my one law class in college was an attractive nuisance. Something is an attractive nuisance. A lot of times it's a pool or, for instance, a trampoline. And if it's not protected, the kids are going to go in there and use it because it's not protected from the kids, and they would be charged because it's an attractive nuisance. Now, I don't know where this body of water was. I think it was on a private property where the kids got into, but just a sad story.
It really is. It's a sad situation. You hate to lose anybody in your community, but you hate to especially lose a kid. And, we're getting back to that name thing. I think the local media did a great job by not identifying who this young lady was. At some point, I'm sure that we will find out the name of the individual, but by withholding a name during situations like that, that's what should be done.
Well, Dan, you remember we had a stabbing in Sycamore with a young man stabbing another young man, and I know that was a case also where you held the name back for a long time before. Obviously, they were minors at the time. Just another tragic story.
What a horrid. Right on the street in a lovely little town.
And 2 young lives just lost like that. Just a terrible thing. All right, what else you got, Dan?
I'm going to name names in this story.
All right, he's naming names.
Former DeKalb County board member accused of theft, fraud, and forgery in connection to COVID-19 relief funding, 33-year-old Savannah Ilanikina, resigned from her county board District 5 seat last month, citing personal reasons.
Right.
She, along with 38-year-old Bartholomew Ilanikina, spouse, both of Cortland, are each charged with 3 counts of forgery, fraud, and theft. According to the 23rd Judicial Court order, the pair is facing a 5-count indictment. So count 1 centers on theft of more than $10,000 and less than $100K from the Federal Small Business Administration by way of the Paycheck Protection Program. Count 2 refers to loan fraud. Count 3, 4, and 5, they center on forgery of government documents, specifically false statements on the amount of loan money spent on payroll costs for the defendant's businesses. Now, I don't know if they're bogus businesses or not.
Well, we know it's at least $10,000 involved, right? Because he says a range between $10,000 and $100,000. So they took at least $10,000.
That court order was filed on July 11th.
Okay. Now, we just had the Habitat for Humanity story, right, where the person was ripping off there. And now this is another case where, Jerry, so many businesses lost business during the COVID, and you hear people taking advantage like that at the same time.
And
really demoralizing.
2 of the 3 individuals that you are alluding to, and Dan mentioned 2 of them, 2 of those 3 were elected folks. And when you are elected, you assume the public trust. And it's just very unfortunate. I think we have to be careful, obviously, that these are allegations.
Right.
No one has been convicted. No one it hasn't been proven. But having said that, I think folks who run for public office have to be very cognizant of their behavior. And we as citizens have every right to know, in this case, who they are. And so, again, a sorry situation here in DeKalb County.
And I think she was just elected just a few months ago, right? So it was like, or re-elected. I don't know if she held that position before or not. But.
I came to this town in 2021, and she was a member of the board.
Okay, all right, so I thought, okay. All right, very good. All right, what else? So let's lighten things up a little bit. Again, on the front page of the Alley Chronicle today on the 31st, No progress on the long vacant DeKalb Hospital in 3 years. And I know, Jerry, when you were in office, I think it's when they were proposing the boutique hotel there and kind of redo that whole place. And
Yeah, that is correct. I know when I was mayor, that building had stood vacant as it is now for many, many years. And when a local attorney came up with an idea to perhaps do something similar to a boutique hotel, our council at that time sort of grabbed a hold of that and said, yeah, this would be a good idea. No development plans had been necessarily given, but we had enough interest there, and we knew the individual, and so we said, yeah, this would be good. And of course, that fell by the wayside, and then it was purchased, by Mr. Saucer. And I understand the frustration on the part of the city council the other night. I also commend the council for taking a look at this and saying, let's give the guy a second chance.
Yeah.
Mayor Barnes said, I know your name, I know your family, I know their reputation in the community. And if you can come forward and play this the way we hope that it can be played, because this has been going on now for a year or two, the frustration on the part of the city council and the city, especially city manager Nicholas. So I hope that Mr. Saucer and the city can get together with a plan that works and reinvigorates that area there on Fisk Avenue.
what happened in early years, Jerry? I know you weren't there literally, but you were actually around. What happened in those first couple of years when the hospital closed? Was it proposed to reopen as a hospital or a medical facility? I mean, for 30 years, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, after the hospital, it had a number of tenants, if you will. I think the school district either purchased it or leased it, and that served as administrative center for DeKalb District 428.
Oh.
And then they moved ultimately, I think, down on the facility they have now on 4th Street. And then I think it was purchased by Mr. Van Blyenberg out of Sycamore. And Hans, I know him. I don't know what he had in, what plans he had for it, but it sat there for a number of years. So I think it was at that time that he must have sold it to the local attorney, and the idea of the boutique hotel was came up.
And one of the issues was parking and traffic there too. But I mean, the fact of proximity with the Elwood House right there, it would make sense to have a boutique motel and people go to the Elwood House.
Well, I think Mr. Saucer's idea, though, is not a boutique hotel. It's simply apartment housing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good. We'll give them another chance. All right, Dan, what do you got there, my friend?
A DeKalb man accused of breaking into a DeKalb home, and he's accused of stealing a vehicle in the process. According to arrest documents, police were called to a home in the 200 block of Joanne Lane. This was just after noon, or in the noon hour, July 25th. Police were investigating a residential burglary. The victim also reported that their 2007 Malibu was stolen. The victim said the intruder ransacked the home, also helped himself to several frozen food entrees and several soft drinks left on the counter, half drunk.
Wow.
I was guilty of that. In addition, several credit cards and ID cards taken from a drawer. A neighbor told police he encountered the burglar, and the accused acted as if he lived there. Police say the burglar was spotted earlier that day at Circle K on North 1st Street using stolen credit cards. Police then responded to a vacant home in the 400 block of South 8th Street for a person entering a window in that home. It was there where police arrested 36-year-old transient Damian Jones. Jones is now charged with 6 felonies and 1 misdemeanor.
There's a name for you, Jerry. Damian Jones, but boy, just the greediness. So maybe might have gotten away with it, perhaps, if he just was, but he just went back for more, went back for second helpings there.
Well, my initial thought is that the gentleman has a problem.
Yes.
And because of that problem, he did things that anyone in their right mind, if you would not do.
Right.
So.
We did the suicide prevention show. Matter of fact, we're doing it again here on the podcast form. But I remember a gentleman saying that the largest mental institution in Illinois is the Illinois State Prison, because inevitably something like that happens where they're out of control. And he told the story. He was actually in prison himself. He had taken all his clothes off and was directing traffic in the middle of the street. And again, relatively harmless, but it was his mental issues that was causing that. But they put him in the Hooskow, because that was the answer then. So pretty scary to think all the people with mental illness in our state facilities, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's lighten it up a little bit here. Tacoverse aims to bring a fun blend of Tex-Mex flavors to DeKalb. Now, in the comments section, I saw this on Facebook. I think there's like 10 different Mexican restaurants in between DeKalb and Sycamore. Oh, wonderful! I might add, I've eaten at almost every one of them. I've eaten all of them. But what do you think about this? Great to get some more commerce in DeKalb, right?
Absolutely. I think any of us, whether or not we are in city government, whether or not we are private individuals, hey, you like to see new restaurants, new businesses pop up, realizing that some will not make it, some will. Tacoverse has moved into a Pizza Hut. Who would have thought that a Pizza Hut would not make it in DeKalb, Illinois, when it sits right adjacent to NIU?
Yeah.
There's just no rhyme or reason on why.
Well, listen to this.
You think that would happen?
According to the newspaper article, the conglomerate behind that owns Pizza Hut and Panera, what they said, they thought you guys do a really good job of this, really good of that, so they thought they combined the two, and that's where they come up with this Tex-Mix. Now, Dan, you know a lot about food. Tex-Mix, how is that different than, say, Mexican food per se?
Well, Mexico's a big country. You go to certain parts, there's different types of food in each part. My grandmother's from Mexico. She would make mole.
Okay.
It was awful.
Don't say that, Dan.
Mole, but I don't know. I like Americanized Mexican food. I like an avocado, a Corona,
All right.
maybe a Dos Equis, and refried beans and some chips.
But Jerry, you mentioned NIU. They're partnered, I guess, and we're partnering with NIU. One of the owners said we're planning on having Victory Husky at our grand opening. So that's great that they're partnering with NIU. But let's be realistic, Jerry. We don't have many students on campus these days, right? What is that?
We have students on campus. We have young people. We have people who eat pizza. Pizza Hut is a national brand. I'm sure that some people buy Pizza Hut or go to Pizza Hut because they like the pizza. Now, we have some great local pizza.
Pizza Villa sponsors the show.
The Finn family and Pizza Villa. That is primo. But again, whether or not we have 5 pizza places, 15 pizza places, 25, if they can all be successful, more power to them. And in this particular situation, apparently this ownership group felt that they'd be better off by putting a Tacoverse in there and hoping that the Pizza Hut that is in Sycamore now, I believe, continues to do well.
All right, very good. Well, yeah, I remember I was open with 2 different businesses with 2 different couples, and they both divorced because 50% of restaurants close in the first year, and then half of that close in the second year. So if you get past that, that's great, but it's really tough to start a restaurant and keep it going.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Dan, you have one more? What do you got there?
You got to work nights and weekends.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And then this couple was working, both of them were working together 24/7, and that didn't work. Turned out so good.
A motorist cited after colliding with a bicyclist Monday morning near the entrance of KCH. According to the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, just after 9 a.m., a woman was exiting the hospital, turning right onto DeKalb Avenue when she failed to yield to a northbound bicyclist, 81 years old, from Sycamore, lady. The bicyclist was taken to KCH with non-life-threatening injuries. 60-year-old Christina Walter of Rochelle is charged with failing to yield to a pedestrian.
Now, I ride my bike all the time right there. I think many of us could visualize right what we're talking about. They're right at the entrance to the hospital. It's pretty scary to think that this person didn't see this lady on the bike. So that's some scary stuff. But she's, ironically, to get hit right in front of the hospital is...
Yeah, the bad news is you got hit.
Right.
The good news is that you were right adjacent to the hospital. So not to cast any light on
No, and I've been doing a lot more bike riding too, and you really have to be aware, especially at the intersection where the person looks to the left to check the car traffic, but never thinks to look back to the right to see if there's a bike coming. on the bicycle paths there. So be careful with that. And I hope we all our thoughts and prayers are with that lady. Not our thoughts and prayers are not with this Earlville man who was sentenced to 6 years in prison. You know, one of the sponsors of the show, Elder Care Services, we just did a newscast last week, Jerry, from a senior perspective, and they kind of get and this is really upsetting because this man ripped off $1.2 million from this person with dementia, did it over 6 years. So, I mean, talk about premeditated and being aware of what you're doing. And there's a special place in HE double hockey sticks for people doing this, and it's scary. You know, you and I are getting older, Jerry, and it's scary to think about people doing stuff.
There are a lot of scams out there, and it's folks like maybe you and I who, again, I'm certainly a senior citizen, and we are great targets for scammers. But you just have to be careful. You have to be vigilant, and that's an unfortunate situation where a person who apparently was in a position of great responsibility, taking care of folks' money, saw an opportunity to do something that was not very, very good.
No, not at all. All right, we'll switch to community calendar unless you got another story, Dan. What do you got? You got more?
One more. Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Janulius is planning to resume efforts to ban insurance companies from using age, credit scores, or zip codes to determine auto coverage rates. State Senator Ram Villavalam and State Rep Rita Mayfield are scheduled to join Alexi Janulius to announce the driving change campaign. Previous efforts failed after opponents said that restrictions would raise premiums and drive insurers out of Illinois.
Thoughts on that, Jerry? Are you thoughts on that?
No, I have no comment. I'd like to, look into that a little bit more. The big company in Illinois right now that has been the focus of a lot of the insurance increase stories is State Farm. And there are other companies that I'm sure that are going to follow suit. Insurance is something that we should all have. And whether that be liability, whether that be auto insurance, whether that be homeowners, and there's nothing wrong with shopping around. And there certainly is nothing wrong with loyalty. I've been a long time State Farm customer. I'm probably one of those individuals who's loyal to a fault, and it's a situation where, I'd like to learn a little bit more about it before I, have any further comment.
Sure, pretty good. We appreciate it.
I know it's tough to get a comment out of me, so.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, this one was in our community calendar section, a nonprofit collecting diaper for dads. A campaign to seek to collect 10,000 diapers for local single fathers in need, and that's by August 4th. They're collecting. Marshall Hendricks is the gentleman doing it. He's a 31-year-old from Sycamore, became a first-time father to a baby girl named Candace back in the day, had trouble with the court system, and started the Fathers of Faith Incorporated, a newly established local nonprofit that aims empowering hope, dignity, and equity for fathers through faith, advocacy, and social action. Now, Jan, do you know many single fathers in DeKalb County? I'm sure there are.
I do not encounter too many single dads in general.
In general, yeah.
I just don't. I will say diapers are not cheap.
No, okay, so that's exactly, yeah.
It's a novel idea, certainly.
It really is.
And I met Mr. Hendricks in another scenario a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him to give me his card, which he did, because I thought, what an interesting program for our Kiwanis Club. So I gave that to our program chair, Jim Barker, and said, this would be an interesting program. Most of the time when we donate our monies or we donate diapers, we're thinking that we're probably donating it to someone who is financially unable to provide diapers. As Dan said, they are expensive. But we also think, when we think of a single person, a single parent, we think of a single mother.
Right.
Not so much a single dad. So again, this is sort of a unique idea, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of success Mr. Hendricks gets out of Diapers for Dads.
Yeah, he pointed out that the SNAP program does not offer diaper support for fathers. There's a lot of programs that offer mother-centered support. But there's a gap there, and he said that's why they're filling the need for father-centered support. Yeah. So we're going to have him on a podcast here in the near future, but Pretty interesting idea. Like you said, a single father, needing help too, as well.
He's not going to bring any adult day.
No. Leave that one alone. Now, I recently, our friend Elder Care Services has the Cozy Corner over there. They have all kinds of great things going on, and they have a book club, and we meet, because I'm part of the club, we meet on the second Wednesday of the month. We're reading the James Patterson novel, The Summer House, right now. But, Jerry, you in a book club at all? You ever do the book club thing?
No. I enjoy reading. I'm just one of those individuals now. I've been blessed in that I'm married to a wonderful wife, Ging. She's going to hit 80 later this month, and in August. And I'm in my early 80s, and we're blessed. And one of our blessings is the fact that we still have enough gray matter between our ears that we're able to stay involved in a number of things. Reading has been one of those passions of mine that I've always said I've got to read more. And I do like to read, but I tend to read things online, or I read things, that I get in the mail. I don't read as many books as I'd like to. But no, I am not in a book club.
All right, very good. Great answer, Jerry.
Sure.
And Dan, how about you? You don't have time for a book club, but what do you read?
I was invited, and they were reading Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov, and I said, guys,
I'd have to take a pass on that one.
if the book was on Ken Stabler, which was the last good book I read was on Kenny the Snake.
The Snake,
Stabler.
yeah.
That would be different.
Being left-handed, he was one of my favorites.
But the literary classics, I like sports books.
That's pretty honest of you. And that's a good segue into business, we call it, because, of course, the passing of Ryan Sandberg, take a look at sports now. And Rhino, I just love the guy. I remember the story that always stuck with me is that he, at one point in his career, he said, I can't play to the level I used to play at. So he gave money back. He gave back part of his contract. And that, to me, I had never heard of a player before since saying, I can't play the level I could play at before, so here, take this money back. But I remember Ryan Sandberg doing that.
Yeah, he was loved by virtually anybody. And everybody who followed baseball, who even followed it a little bit, but you heard of Rhino or Ryan Sandberg. And yeah, it's too bad. I was talking to a Ging the other day. We lose a lot of people young.
Yeah.
Here we are in our 80s, and we're blessed. But you see somebody like Ryan Sandberg, who I think was 65. This big wrestler, Hulk Hogan, 71 years old. And if somebody is hit by the proverbial Mack truck and they're 23 years old, they die too young.
Yeah.
And then kids.
Yeah.
10-year-old kids who drown.
Exactly.
Die too young.
So sad.
But hey, as someone said, death is part of life. And life, we have to move on, don't we?
There you go. Very well put, Jerry. Now, NIU, of course, you're a big NIU football fan, and NIU is picked 5th at the MAC. Thomas Hammett, coach, thinks preseason polls are outdated. What do you think about that? I never liked preseason polls because with college kids, you got new people coming in. You really can't gauge from the year before. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, the turnover rate is kind of high.
Yeah, so the portal, now we have the portal. All the kids are getting in the portal and going somewhere else.
Yeah, but I do love this time of year when football starts.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. Yeah. Can't wait for Husky football, too. So.
Coach Joe Ryan stepping down after this year at Sycamore High School. What a tremendous job he's done.
Yeah, he sure has.
And, of course, one of our podcast number, I forget which one it is, but Ethan Storm, Sycamore High School student, picked in the 13th round of the Major League Baseball draft. And how cool is that? First, Coach Kavanaugh, who's been with Sycamore High School since '97, first player he's had taken in the draft. So how cool is that?
That's cool.
Yeah, and 13th round. That's not too shady at all. So also part of the morning show we used to do is obits. Now, Dan, I told somebody the other day they were surprised that they told me that on the radio station, people used to have to pay to have their obit read on the radio station, right? Is that correct, sir?
I think it was 20 or 25 a read.
Okay. Yeah.
I worked at stations where they just read them.
Well, that's what we're doing here. We're not to charge anybody, and there's so many wonderful people. I was telling Jerry, Dan, we talked about as we get older. I just turned 65, and I've been reading the obits now for a couple of years there. It's getting to know more people in the town, and I find when you read that, when they encapsulate somebody's life in a couple of paragraphs, it's pretty amazing. I don't know. They're going to need at least a full book for you, Jerry, but you probably know some of these people. Do you know Elmer Rome Brown? Elmer, 88, of DeKalb, Illinois?
No.
Elmer married his wife Sharon in Creston, Illinois. The union lasted 58 years, 3 wonderful children, Pam, Kim, and Ryan. Elmer spent his entire adult life in DeKalb, cherishing his beloved home and yard. He was always busy doing something he loved, making his neighbors a vibrant place. A true motorcycle enthusiast, he loved taking trips on his big bike, cruising around town. He worked at Wurlitzer till they closed. Now, do you remember when I don't remember, but do we know when Wurlitzer closed? They just,
I'm gonna guess the 60s.
The 60s, okay.
60s or 70s. Yeah, I remember Wurlitzer, but I did not necessarily know many people who worked there, but I knew where it was.
Well, when they're almost out of business, they had an organ transplant, but it didn't take. I'm sorry, it's a little joke. Or an organ transplant at Wurlitzer. All right.
I talked to a gentleman who worked
You did?
last week, and he said they didn't have any air conditioning.
Oh, really? Oh, man. He became a custodian at the DeKalb School District, a job he truly cherished. He loved spending time with the kids and staff, making sure everyone was in order. Elmer retired from the school district in 1999. So,
Sounds
found
like
a job that he loved, you know,
great man,
and did it. Yeah, just a great guy.
You know, talk about activities. One activity you'll find, perhaps at 65, this has begun to kick in for you, but for Ging and I now, we find ourselves going to so many funerals.
Oh, yes.
And because we've been in town for so darn long, you know, I've been in town now for 65 years. You know, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people. So when you get to our age, yeah, you do go to more funerals than when you're 25.
Yeah, my mother died in her 90s, and sadly, when my brothers and I were trying to organize the funeral and the wake, there was nobody to call. Everybody had passed. All her close friends had passed. Anna Kurtzer. I hope I'm saying Anna Ray
Keitzer.
Keitzer. Oh, so you know, I knew you would know one of these people,
She
Jerry.
is the widow of Leon.
Leon Keitzer. Together they raised 4 children in DeKalb and dedicated herself to being a loving wife, mother, and homemaker. Remembered for unwavering faith, generous spirit, infectious sense of humor, and her legendary fried chicken. She was a member of the First United Methodist Church of DeKalb, taught Sunday school, an active member of the Ladies Marine Corps Auxiliary in Sycamore for many years. Those are the kind of things you don't know about people, Jerry. Like, she was a Sunday school teacher for years, and then worked with the Ladies Marine Corps Auxiliary as well. Just wonderful lady. Her legacy is one of faith, family, and love. Her sweet Southern drawl, gentle laughter, and kind heart will be deeply missed there. And then the third one we have is David Kessler. David was born in graduated from Waterman, associate's degree at Kish College, and went to Southern Illinois. Married his sweetheart, Diane, and they raised together a daughter, Meredith, and a son, Andrew. Worked at John Deere Company for 35 years, returned to DeKalb County in Sycamore. After moving back into retirement, he started volunteering at the Northwestern Medical Cancer Center in 2013, and sadly became a patient himself in 2017. Celebration of David's life will be held at a later date. But there's another case now about that, ironic, where he volunteers at the cancer center and then ultimately has to be there himself. So
Yeah, absolutely.
really a tough deal there, but just some great people. We like to acknowledge people, and I think it's a fun thing to do. And then to lighten things up, we do the birthday list as well. But before we do the birthday list, then we're going to do the news quiz as well. Jerry, you brought a couple of things here. Let's talk about what you brought, because we talked about the internet and how a few bad actors, I guess you would describe them. They always see the same guys that are posting a lot of stuff, and you brought some stuff that posted back in the day.
Yeah, not knowing exactly what it is, TD, that you and Dan were going to do today on this show. I thought that if you wanted to talk at any time about my experience as mayor, 4 of the best years of my life, I tell you, they were really good. But and I don't save much anymore. I'm trying to get rid of stuff and downsize. But I did bring today a few things that I have saved, and if you don't mind, a couple of them.
One's a visual. I wish we could.
You can't see, but there was a gentleman on Facebook who posted situations, and this individual did not like me apparently when I was mayor. He didn't like a lot of what was happening. We have some negative folks in this community.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, right. But these were 2 things that they posted. One was 3 faces called the Three Stooges. The city of DeKalb presents. And the pictures of the Three Stooges are Jerry Smith, Lisa Freeman, and Bill Nicholas. Then he posted pictures of us, DeKalb County losers. DeKalb Mayor Smith, City Manager Nicholas, DCEDC Director Borick, and DeKalb County Board Chair Petrowski. So
now, what is he accusing you of?
Those are I don't know.
Because
he just apparently did not like the way that that I responded to whatever he was interested in the city of DeKalb. And I loved being there. And I'll never forget that gentleman. After he posted these two, among others, I called him.
Good for
and
you.
I said, let's have breakfast. Let's just sit down and have a cup of coffee. And he did not respond positively. He didn't want to do that because I like to sit down with people who during those 4 years disagreed with me,
right?
Agreed with me. I have one other thing, if I may.
Please.
One of the things that I've saved are notes that I got from kids.
Yeah, no, that.
And I went to a number of elementary schools and grade schools in town. And here's one that says Mayor Jerry Smith. You can see that. May I read it to you?
Please.
And it's a picture.
Don't you dare throw it away.
It's a picture of Mayor Jerry Smith and Mrs. Smith, wife of Mayor Smith. Dear Mayor Smith, thank you.
And you got a full head of hair there too.
Thank you for your time you had with us. One thing I learned was that you get voted to be mayor. I also learned that your opinion, you think that Fatty's has the best potato salad in the world. I was so excited to meet you. I was glad that you could spend some time with the third grade classroom. Your friend, Julia.
Oh.
Now, that's priceless.
That is.
That's priceless, and that's why I would want to save that. So, yeah, those are the kinds of things that I have found that I have held on to, and where they go after I pass, I don't know.
Well, Steve Hartman, who does the Sunday morning show, did a bit about a gentleman in Vietnam, and a young lady had written him a letter. She was in the second grade at the time. And he saved that the whole time, and his wife found her 40 years later. Turned out she was in the military. She got in the military herself. And he explained to her how much that letter meant to him. And he still had the letter 40 years later.
Yeah, I have the honor. I've been chosen to be in attendance and be one of the honor guests, I guess, on the honor flight that is going to leave.
Oh, good for you.
Chicago, the 20th of August. And, we'll go into Washington, D.C.
We just talked to Mike Embry about that.
And of course, Mike knows that. Mike's, as a matter of fact, going to be on an honor flight here this weekend, I think, as part of the Lake County group. But, to be chosen to do that is wonderful. And I talked to Mike about this. I've seen a number of the memorials where that we're going to be able to visit during that time. And I'm going to enjoy being put in a wheelchair, frankly, and wheeled around. But I really am looking forward to talking to a few of the World War II and Korean War vets who saw a heck of a lot more than I did. I was a Vietnam era vet, and most of the honor flight participants that day, I'm sure, will be from the Vietnam era, which I was. But I was very fortunate to be in the service. I'm very proud of the 2 years that I served in the United States Army. And, one of the activities that I've been involved in, Dan and Terry, has been the DeKalb County Veterans Recognition Fund, which I'm sure Mike Embry and others have talked about.
Yes, we had Mike.
What we want to do is just raise a fund that will continue to memorialize and do some tangible things, whether that be a bench, a flagpole, or whatever, to recognize those veterans from DeKalb County.
Well, Mike Embry said it very poignantly when he just made that flight and came back, and he said, coming back in the airport, they got a standing ovation for the people there in the airport. And he said that's a parade that the Vietnam veterans never got, because you never did get that when you came back.
No, we never did. I was fortunate enough, again, to spend most of the 2 years that I was in Germany. And I worked, with the American Forces Radio Network, and so I was blessed. I mean, it was great duty. I met some great people. Some of my best friends today are guys who were in the service with me. But yeah, to see the treatment that some of our guys who were in Vietnam, who were in the mud and the gook and all that, and having been shot at, and then to see, how some folks treated them. It's truly unfortunate. But I think as a country, we've come around to the realization of what happened in Vietnam, and we look at those Vietnam vets now with pride and with honor. and with admiration.
As we should, as we do with you, Jerry. And we thank you so much for your service.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's do the news quiz. What do you say, Dan? And then we got a couple of things looking back in the past here from our friends at the DeKalb County History Center.
Okay, so we were talking about.
Do you want to know what they're going to win? You're probably curious.
Oh, yes. T-Bone. What are they going to win?
Well, funny you should ask, Dan, because they're going to win two, not one, but two gift certificates of Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more. Plus, as you're well aware of, kids eat for free on Thursday nights at Pizza Villa. And you were mentioning John Finn. What a fantastic guy.
Oh, the Finn family and John, yeah, they're just great people and wonderful pizza.
Yes. Jerry rubs his belly. What do you got for us, Dan?
Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Janulius planning to resume efforts to ban insurance companies from using age, credit scores, or zip codes to determine what type of insurance coverage.
All right. If you can answer that, contact me at tdryan2001 at yahoo.com. Again, tdryan2001 at yahoo.com. If you have the right answer, I will give you two gift certificates of Pizza Villa with the pizza and the pastas and the sandwiches and the whatnot. Now, Jerry, I know if you love looking at this, again, when I talk about reading obits, I love looking at this date in history in the Chronicle. And our friends at the DeKalb County History Center are going to provide us with a news fact every week. We don't have that right now, but this is the one that everybody can see. But I thought about you, Jerry, when I saw we were just talking about how a great veteran city that DeKalb is. Spanish-American War veterans of DeKalb, especially those who fought in the 3rd Illinois Volunteer Infantry, will go to Aurora on Monday, August 10th, for the annual reunion of the regiment. Several hundred are expected at the meeting, which was held in the city last year. Among those who would go from the city are Captain Thomas Murray, Ezra Hayden, and Regimental Chaplain Ed Dunn. Now, I was just watching a thing on the History Channel about Teddy Roosevelt's ride up San Juan Hill, and that was a mistake, I guess. He shouldn't have done that. And one of his men said it was leading the lambs to slaughter, is how he described Teddy going up that hill. But I didn't know we had soldiers from Illinois in that war.
I did not.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
So there's at least a couple hundred here from what to look into that.
You're going to have to ask Mike Embry.
I will do that.
Because I think Mike Embry has become one of our great military historians. And Mike's a young man. Heck, he's younger than I am and probably maybe just a tad older than you are, TD. But he would know the answer to that question.
I don't even know what year that was.
Well, it was right when the war was.
1910?
This is 1925 is when this is happening. Yeah. But yeah, reading about that, I always thought Teddy Roosevelt was such a hero doing that. But then I read about him. It was a mistake, and he shouldn't have led his men up that hill. It was like that when one guy said, leading the lambs to slaughter there. So I still respect Teddy Roosevelt, one of my favorite presidents. And this I thought about you as well. This morning, this is 1950. Morning motorists will experience a new one-way street in DeKalb while it takes time for all to become accustomed to the new regulations, including relieving traffic congestion. Only southbound traffic will be allowed on 2nd Street between Fisk and Locust and Grove and Prospect, and northbound traffic on 3rd between Prospect and Grove and Locust and Fisk. So 1950 is when the one-way street started in DeKalb?
I think those parameters are in existence today, are they not? Yeah. I think South 2nd from Grove down to maybe Taylor is one way, and 3rd coming back the other way is one way until you get to maybe Grove Street. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
This is for drag racing or what?
No, this was
One-way
to relieve congestion. That was back in 1950 is when that went down.
Yep.
And then this one I found interesting too. The station, and this is the year 2000, the station was home to such historic programs on Amos and Andy and Fibber McGee and Molly. Remember Fibber McGee and Molly?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Fades into radio history this week as WMIQ goes off the air. MIQ leads the spot in radio for WSQR, the sports station.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that happened in 2000. And a corporate move historians call monumental. So, yeah, I remember MIQ they're in the, they still rerun the old, who was it, BBM? They rerun the old Amos and Andy and some of the old radio shows.
The Whistler?
The Whistler. And Fibber McGee and Molly and the Shadow Knows. And finally, I want to do birthdays, and we have Kathy Harridan. You probably know some of these people, Dan. And Jerry. Joe Kozlowski is having a birthday on August 9th. August 11th, Jeff Wright, formerly our sports director here at WLBK, back at WLBK. Yeah. And Madeline DeVito will have a birthday on August 15th. And I do believe you mentioned some young lady named Ging is having a birthday on
August 15th.
August 15th.
Agapita Ging Smith, yes.
So you guys have been together so long. How do you pull out your bag of tricks for Ging now with her birthday?
Well, I tell you, we celebrated anniversary 51 on
All
July
right.
20th.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And and we don't travel that much. We've again pretty much limited most of our activity into this regional stick, if you will. Still very involved with church, gig in the women's club and in the church, and I've been blessed to stay in touch with my church and the veterans activity and Kiwanis, and so look forward to working with you now on Freezing with Food.
Yeah, and we want to thank the Kiwanis.
As long as you don't have me stay out there overnight in 15 degree below zero weather, I'll probably politely say, TD, a polite no. But no, it's going to be great to see that particular initiative in our community, which has been so successful, over the years, to continue through your efforts and through the efforts of Bill Panukin and our Kishwaukee Kiwanis Club.
And as we wrap things up, and that's pretty good to wrap up right there, but what do you look at DeKalb, you've done so much for DeKalb, making it a veteran city of the year. I know that meant a lot to you to have that. And as you see DeKalb on the trend or the trajectory it's on now, what are your thoughts about it?
I feel very good about DeKalb. I've been here since 1961. The community has changed so dramatically over the 64, 65 years that I've been here. But, we still sit in a wonderful area for transportation. Educationally, we have a great community college and a wonderful university. And we're, just a stone's throw from one of the largest commercial centers in the world, Chicago. We have a diverse population, and the diversity brings us strength. And while the diversity has, on occasion, presented problems, it also has presented a lot of promise. So for those who are considering moving into the city of DeKalb, I'd say this is a wonderful community. And when I look at DeKalb, I think of Mayor Brazier and those folks over in Sycamore. DeKalb Sycamore is one community now in so many ways, and because I can remember when there was just nothing but cornfield between DeKalb, Illinois and Sycamore, Illinois.
Wow.
No more. So I am encouraged as an Illinoisan, as a DeKalbite, that this is a good place to live and to work and to raise the family, as the expression goes.
All right, well done. Well, Jerry, we can't thank you enough again. Everybody has a passion for DeKalb, but certainly you, and you show that, you live that, so we appreciate that. And I called you at the last minute to do this, and I want to thank you so much for finding time to come and visit with us here today.
Yeah, you interrupted my nap. No, you didn't. This is a great thing, and for you and Dan to be able to do this is wonderful. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for being part of it. Dan, as always, thank you, sir, the pillar of the community, and of course our news team as well. Thanks for what you do. We appreciate it.
Thank you, TD, and thank you, Jerry. And thank you both for your contributions to humanity and this community.
All right, that's TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 9 with former DeKalb Mayor Jerry Smith. And we have an addition here to News Podcast number 9. I had forgot that I invited Sue Breeze to come by about the barn tour this year. And Sue, thank you so much for taking time to us this morning as we're talking about the barn tour. A beautiful book that I have here in my hand here. Unfortunately, we're on a podcast, people can't see it. But tell us when the barn tour is coming up and how people can participate, please.
The barn tour is coming up a week from Saturday on August 9th. And this year we're featuring 7 barns, mostly in the Sycamore Township. We've got one in Genoa Township. So people can come to our starting point, our first barn, and purchase tickets if they haven't already online. So you can purchase online at DAHA.org, which stands for DeKalb Area Agricultural Heritage Association.
That's why you call it DAHA.
Yeah, that's why we call it DAHA, yeah. So our first starting point is the Crib Studio of Valerie Weberpaul, and that's at 16521 Swanson Road in Sycamore.
Okay.
So you can start there and buy your books. First barn, beautiful barn, and then from there you get a guidebook, and that will give you the route, the map of all the other barns that are on the barn tour.
And little treats along the way I'm seeing here too. I see we got some steak bites here and some corn. Tell us about that, please.
Right. The DeKalb County Cattlemen's Association has having a table this year, which they're offering steak bites, yes, for you to try, which is very cool, I think. Yeah.
Now, this is the 11th annual barn tour. I remember when I was living in Wisconsin at the time, and they were changing the license plates, and they had the barn, just the barn there, and it was just a beautiful red barn. And I thought, what a great idea for a license plate. Why are barns so important, do you think?
Well, it's probably the most iconic thing for America.
It does. I mean, what's more American than that?
Right. Yeah, and there's just some beautiful barns still in the area. A lot of them are going away. That's why we like to be able to highlight this barn tour and show people. They're going away because the machinery won't fit in them anymore.
Yeah. So tell us about the people that own these barns. They must be thrilled to be part of this because it's some work on their part, isn't it?
It is. Well,
I mean, a work of love.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got a couple barns that have been repurposed for things. That first barn number 1, has been repurposed for an art studio for Valerie.
Oh, neat.
And she does some amazing things. And we have working barns this year, so we've got horses, cattle, sheep, chickens.
So with the hayloft and everything and the hay bales coming down, I always wanted to see that in the process.
So we try to get varieties of different barns every year, and I think we did a really good job.
I love it.
Yes.
So tell us again now, so how can we be part of this? Because we probably see some stuff online first, right, if we want to?
You can, yes. Actually, the barn tour has its own website.
Okay.
Barn Tour of DeKalb County. Facebook page also. You can go there and see some of the barns that are on the tour this year and in previous years. Also at the DAHA website. This whole event is a fundraiser for the Joseph F. Glidden Homestead and for the DeKalb Area Agricultural Heritage Association.
Okay. We just had the Hemmings, it's the Hemmings and Worth, I don't want to say their name right, but they went to every county in Illinois and took a picture of the courthouses there. But they were inspired by a book of somebody who did hand drawings of the courthouse. And I see these beautiful hand drawings of these barns. Tell us about who did those.
So we found this fella, David Allen Badger, when we first started the barn.
Oh, he was the guy who did the other book. He was the guy who did the courthouse book. Badger, remember that last name? Yeah.
Yes, he did, yeah. And David was doing the same book type thing for Whiteside County. And then we got him to do our drawings. So for 11 years, David has been doing the drawings in the guidebook.
And you went with the drawings as opposed to the pictures. I'm glad you did. Tell us, was it a conscious decision to do that?
Right, so I think so. I mean, the drawings are just really fantastic.
They really are.
Yeah, and David comes up about a month ahead of time, and we take him on the tour, and he takes pictures of the barns, and then he takes those back with him and does the drawings from the pictures that he's taken.
Now, I never asked, if we get this book and we can't make it on the day, Saturday, August 9th, can we kind of go around ourselves? Would it be all right to show up at these people's barns?
We don't encourage that.
Okay, no.
No.
But again, August 9th is the day to do that. And rain or shine, I'm guessing, right?
Rain or shine, keep your fingers crossed that it's shine.
And if people want to join this organization or learn more about it, tell us.
Absolutely.
Always looking for new members, right?
Always looking. In the guidebook on the very last page.
Oh, we have it covered, okay.
We've got membership forms for both of the organizations that are involved in the event.
I just started going to Resource Bank, and I see the Resource Bank on the back there with that historic building. What was that, a restaurant for years?
That was a restaurant, yeah. Okay. Gas station.
Yeah.
And garage.
That is so neat. Yep. And before we let you go, Sue, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite barn, and why is it your favorite?
Oh my gosh, there's so many of them, but probably the one that stands out the most is the octagonal barn down in the southern part of the county.
Okay.
It's very unique.
What's the story behind that? Do you know why they design it like that?
Not sure.
Okay.
Not sure. But if you get inside and you look up to see how the roof structure was built, and it's just amazing. It
really is. I tell you, the people that put these things together, just I always joke about the fact that if I went back 100 years back, I wouldn't be able to teach anybody anything. But people like this could teach them how to build a barn. It's so practical.
Yeah. Yes.
And why you do this, Sue? Why are you so involved? Why is
Well, DeKalb County is my home,
Uh-huh.
born and raised here, and there are so many areas in the county that, especially this time of year, are so beautiful that people don't see unless you go for a ride, out in the country. This time of year, the corn is tall and green and just gorgeous. And this burn tour, you'll be going through some areas that you can't believe is DeKalb County. It's just beautiful.
I love it. My niece or my stepdaughter who came from out east there, she came to visit us there. We picked her up from the Elbert train station and we're driving back to DeKalb. And she goes, "It's so beautiful." And we're all like, what is she like? What is she looking at? And she was looking at the cornfields and how beautiful it was. And like here we take it for granted every day, but she was just saying, "Oh my God, it's so." And she wanted to stop and take a picture of it.
Yes, we do. It is. It's just as green as it is, and like I said, it's tall and it just is gorgeous.
Well, those that don't learn from history are doing a repeat. I always love history and things involving history, and the barn tour is just that. Again, coming up Saturday, August 9th. Tell us more again last time about how we can be part of this.
So you can order tickets online at daha.org or go to the first location, which is on that Swanson Road address, and buy your tickets there. So you can pre-order or you can just buy as you go. It's a self-guided tour. The map is in the guidebook, and
Little surprises along the way as well. Little surprises like treats and corn and things along the way.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, this year NIU is partnering with us with their mobile STEM unit.
Oh,
So that'll be interesting to see what they come up with that.
well, it's interesting whenever you stop by. Thank you for your time today, and we hope to have you back on the podcast again real soon.
No problem, anytime.
All right, and that's News Podcast number 6. Number 9.